Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. How's everyone? Hope you had a good weekend. Hope everybody is staying nice and safe. Hope nobody's kind of sort of lost their sanity at the moment. Some kind of what I'm looking for, kind of Cthulhu-esque, going insane with the current lockdown situations. Let's very quickly dive in and say hello to folks in the chat, see who we've got. Scott Longworth, nice and early tonight, although I do remember seeing, who was it? It was Peter. Peter Nicholas was in earlier on this afternoon, I think, about 1 o'clock or something. Yeah, Scott says, get in on first to comment. Technically second, but I'll give you that, mate. Mark Berracloth, evening all, just settling down and getting ready. Wine, thumbs up clicked. Well, I've got the wine tonight as well, mate. Just finishing off, had a glass of wine with my dinner tonight. So I'm finishing that off. And then I'm onto the hard stuff, the water. Technically, I'm at work now. Now this is my job. You can't drink on at work, can you? It was fine when it was a hobby. Phil Wilkinson's in as well, saying whoop whoop. Dave Mackian, it says, even all managed to unglue himself enough to type. He's been doing a little bit of black sails and trying to put together those little rigging and stuff like that. Yes, harder than it looks. Phil Wilkinson says, too drunk, but we'll paint it later. You don't have to be drunk to watch me, mate. Honestly, is it that bad? We've got Declan Canavan in. It says, need this little escape. You and me both, mate. Thank you for coming in. Steve Evans, he says, evening all. Hello, Steve. Hello to Christian as well. Good evening to you, sir. Aggression in as well. Good evening, Aggression. Julian Anchors, nice to see you, fella, too. Palmsy's in, says he's cooking a roast dinner. Palmsy, you're a man of many skills, mate. I couldn't cook a roast dinner, that's for sure. David Moffat says, oh yeah, it's Monday. It certainly is, buddy. It certainly is. Mark Coxey says, evening all. Whoops, I jumped off my screen there. Evening all, he says, time for the highlight of my hobby week. You gents are too kind tonight. There must be something in the water, I think. You're all going crazy. That's what it is. You're all going lockdown crazy. Mark Coley says, hey guys, no painting tonight. You have my undivided attention. Right, Mark, it's just me and you, mate. We're just going to have a chat. Nobody else here. Just me and you. Undivided attention. Busey's in as well. Says, good evening. Ready for the best night of the week. I think Mondays could be the new Fridays now, couldn't they? Let's just start to feel good. John Estel, good evening all. Finished chips and curry sauce. I had an amazing steak and red wine pie tonight. It was awesome that my wife made today. Deep Red says, hail and well met Legacies. That paint job looks awesome. I assume you mean the one that was on the thumbnail tonight, which is the new warband for Warcry. And what a perfect segue, he says. Just a very brief about what we're going to chat about tonight. I'm going to briefly talk about the GW reveals from the weekend, what I think of the reveals, probably a little bit of a kind of what I think about the reveals over the last 3 reveals they've done as well, thoughts about the future, but that's just to get the chat warmed up, really. That's just something to talk about. I'll be talking about some other things I've been looking at, some stuff I've been doing in the background for the channel and stuff as well, some things I saw over the weekend. So yeah, we'll be having a random natter. We'll probably even talk about my dwarves I've been painting as well. So yeah, the GW stuff, if you're not a GW fan, well, we'll use that as the main topic tonight. We'll kick things off. But the ramble, the chat will go where the chat will go. You know how it is, folks. Barry Cliver, howdy, just made it. Nice to see you, Barry, mate. I hope you're well. Deep Red says, I love purple. I like that purple and kind of sort of turquoisey blue. It looks really nice together. Matt Mountain says, evening, BlackJackers. How's it going on this lockdown? Hashtag Mantic Monday. It's not going too bad, mate. Bit of a productive day today. Excuse me. I've got a bit of pastry stuck on the back of my throat that just hit my tongue there. You didn't even know that, did you? Claudio Schaeffer's in as well. Says, howdy everyone. Hello, Claudio. David Moffat says, having to rearrange things for my wife to work at home. My usual airbrush setup is a bit odd. I basically did power squats and stretches for hours and then all weekend. That sounds like you've been there having some fun, buddy. Sean Blake, nice to see you, Sean. How are you doing? Says, word my dudes. Kieran Byrne, no fancy dress written warning. I tell you what, mate, I have never, ever sort of taken part in fancy dress. And not because I don't think it's fun or anything like that. I have never had the opportunity to do fancy dress anything. So I don't own anything fancy dress. If I owned something fancy dress, I would have worn it for you tonight. So for those that don't know the reference, so Kieran mentioned in our Patreon chat today, he said technically this is Andy's first live stream working for us now. Now he's full-time and we're paying his wages as Patreons. Technically he works for us now as his first live stream. So yeah, we're going to put some demands in now, so you better be fancy dressed tonight. So that was where the chat came from. But no, I don't own anything fancy dressed, mate. Otherwise I would have done that tonight for you. Krabby Vision says, hello all, how's everyone? Really good, mate. Hope you're all well as well. Hope your streams have been going pretty well. I've saw the little notifications flashing up on my phone, but I've been tied up doing other stuff. But yeah, no doubt we'll catch up soon. We'll do another live stream together as well. We've got Craig McCartney says, evening all. Evening, Craig. How are you, sir? Rui Lewis is in as well. I always say Luis. I assume it's Luis and not Lewis or something like that. But good evening, Rui. Anyway, how are you? Simon York, he said, the weight of my tiny existence within the vast universe of my house is not yet driving me mad. Mine's starting to. But yeah, I'll go out with a smile, put it that way. Tim Kelly, evening all, he says. Hello, Tim. How are you? Richard Smith says, evening, Andy. Are you as excited for Warcry Dark Elves as I am? We'll get to that, mate. We'll get to that very soon. VJ says, morning, folks. Good morning, VJ. How are you? Hope everything is okay over on the other side of the world there. We got Cliff in as well. Says, hello, all. Hello, Cliff. Del Brove says, all right, mate. All right, Del. How you doing? James Zorm, greetings. Hope everyone's doing well. Glenn Griffin, evening, BlackJackerinos. I think that might be my new phrase now, BlackJackerinos. Robert Marshall says, evening, all. Skullmunch says, evening, Andy. Evening, all. Hello, Sean. How are you? Flying Mammals waving. Hello, Ruth. How are you? We've got Stu Nobby Noble says, oi, oi, Savaloy. That reminds me, actually, I don't know for why it reminds me, but just to forget, anybody that was in the stream last week will remember I was going to give away 3 mugs tonight. So that will happen. We'll do the mug draw after the GW chat and before the Ramble stuff, okay? So if I kind of get sidetracked, somebody remind me. It's all set up here ready to go, to be fair, but we will get to it. Krabby says, I spent all afternoon stripping. There you go, mate. A little bit of personal stripping and basically breaking a Storm Raven I got from eBay a while ago. Originally as a terrain piece, but trying to save it as I ran out of stuff to paint. You can do it, mate. Just make it a bit battle damaged. It'll look awesome. Claudio says he's ripping out wings from flies. It'll be easier to paint the toys for Rangers. Sounds interesting, mate. Peter Nicholas says, phew, just made it. Nice to see you, Peter. Flying Mouse says, BlackJack teaser on, Cuppers in a BlackJack mug, BlackJack on the 3 screens, it's Monday. Ruth, you bring a tear to my little eyes. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, and appreciate the support as well, and I hope you're feeling well today as well. Lee Russ says, evening all. Good evening, sir. Joe Q, you guys have the most wonderful stream. Thank you very much, Joe. You have the most wonderful evening. I'll have a glass of wine in your honour this evening. Thank you. David said, none of the reveals have grabbed my money yet, but the sister and those Warcry Mirrorface folk are tempting. Yeah, we'll get to that very, very soon. And then, of course, it jumps on top of my screen. Flying Marbles demolding the other half of the HQ mod. I nearly said Harry Potter there. The Hero Quest stuff back later. Nice one. I'm looking forward to seeing them, Roof, when they're all done. Steve says your dwarfs are looking really cool now, mate. I'm re-energized. I'm re-motivated. I think I said before I'd kind of run out of stuff to paint. And I found at the weekend when I was looking for something else, I found 2 cannons and the guys. Of course, when I redid this whole studio thing, I bagged everything up perfectly and put it into boxes labelled Mantic Dwarfs. Of course I did. Everything was really organised. Of course, I put that box somewhere that I completely forgot about, and I found that box at the weekend. So I kind of cleaned them all up, got them spray primed, and just kind of I sat and painted them, I should say, while I was watching the GW reveals actually on Saturday. So yeah, so that's another 2 cannons done for the force. I think it's up to just under 1,000 points at the moment, with a few magic items that'll take me up. Or with a couple like bits and pieces, it'll take me up to 1,000 points. So I'm happy with that. I've got, which is over there, and I'm all wired up with my microphone, so I won't go and dash over and get it. But I've got my Steel Juggernaut, which is one of my HQ choices, one of my hero choices, I should say. He'll be getting painted up on Wednesday's live stream. So if you want to come along on Wednesday to the live stream, it's just a painting stream. It's a hobby hangout on a Wednesday. We kind of just I sit and put something underneath the camera and sit and paint while we have a bit of a random ramble. But I'll be painting up one of the hero models for my Kings of War army on Wednesday. So please do come in there, dive over for that one. Carries in as well, says hope everyone is safe. Nice to see you, eager to hear about new Warcry models. Yeah, I'm eager to find out more, but I'll tell you what I can tonight. Tony Howell's in, says good evening my lovely people. Evening Tony, how are you mate? Hope you're well. Peter Nicholas, forgot your BlackJack t-shirt. Honestly, I had bigger hopes for you mate, honestly I did. Flymal says, right, inviting you to my next costume party or next gaming event, bringing you my boxes of wigs. I can see me in a wig. Probably, I don't think I'd quite pull off Elvis, to be fair. All the Karate Kid with a beard like that, to be fair. But yeah, I have never been to a fancy dress party in my life. I'm 45 this year. I've never been to like a Halloween party. I've never been to a fancy dress party. I don't know how I've managed to survive this long. Although I did tell my son that we would get dressed up for Halloween this year. I assume I'll be able to get out to some shops and buy some stuff by that point. Yeah, he says. Scott's in as well. Good evening, Scott. How are you, my friend? Going down the chat. He's waiting for his Infinity stuff to arrive. I'm waiting for my Infinity stuff to arrive as well, mate. My Operation Coldstrom stuff is on its way. Krabby Vision says, I made first YouTube stream on Saturday. Went really well, thanks. Instagram stuff is a bit meh. It's weird, isn't it? Like different... Like, for example, like I've got nearly... I'm cracking up towards 8,000 subs now on YouTube, which is kind of like mind blown from when I first started kind of thing. I just can't seem to crack like Twitter and Instagram. I don't know. I just don't know how it works. If I was to go and do a live stream on Instagram, nobody would watch that either. So it's weird. It's a funny one. Certain platforms I think suit certain people, and I think YouTube kind of fits with what I want to do and probably what I'm better at. Where we at? Where are we at? ELO says, evening mate, good evening. VJ says, he's better now he's got his cup of green tea. Nice and healthy. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a dry throat. I'll get some water. Scott saying he hopes he wins something. VJ says, crap, I forgot to comment on last week's video and I've just seen it. Is it too late? It's not too late, mate. I'll pull all of the comments in when I get to that point. So anybody that comments up to that point, you're still included. I'm feeling generous. I'm in a good mood. My face is a bit warm, mind. I'm feeling a bit rosy here. I think it's because the lights have been on in here for a little while. But yeah, I'm in a good mood, mate. So yeah, I'll cut you a bit slack. Palmsy says, do it now, mate. Surely we'll still be in the draw. Yeah, do it now. Yeah, so I thought we'd do the draw now before he gets in. Peter Nicholas says, GW reveals do tell. So for those that are not particularly GW fans, GW have been doing, out of 3 of the last 4 weekends, they've been doing basically the reveal stuff that they had planned for Adepticon. I had my ticket for Adepticon, and I also had a ticket to go to the GW kind of seminar that they do, where they do all of the big reveals and talk about certain stuff. Because Adepticon was cancelled, they've basically staggered out those announcements over the last month. Like 3 out of the last 4 weeks. They had a weekend off over Easter weekend. I'll come on to that a bit more later, but I still think there's some stuff missing. Oh, that water got trapped. Excuse me. Where are we at? Krabby saying, mate, you've definitely got your bit of spring in your step today. Loving it. Just in a good mood. Honestly, I think it's... My wife's been off today as well, so I haven't been as stressed as normal with a 3-year-old. She's got a week off work this week, so even though she's been working from home, she'd accrued loads of time off and stuff like that. So basically, we were supposed to be away on holiday. I think I mentioned this on the painting stream last week. We were supposed to be away on holiday this week, just off to Butlins in the UK for 4 days or 5 days. So basically, she just didn't cancel that time off that she had planned. So we're just having a week at home, really, and it gave me a chance to get some bits and pieces done this morning, like my own kind of like admin type stuff for the YouTube channel. A lot of stuff with like, oh, my throat. Excuse me. Oh, that's better. setting up a lot of stuff, getting in contact with different companies and stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about that later on, but I'm just in a good mood, mate. I'm just in a good mood. Feels like things are in a nice place. I think the closer I get to my official kind of not being part of my old company, if you like, I think the closer that gets, the more it's just like, yeah, I can relax now. Nothing's going to kind of fall over. It's always that thing like until my contract finally ended, there's always that like 0.1% chance something might go wrong. Where are we at? Where are we at? Pomsy says it's because he put Warcry in the title. He knows he's going to do sick numbers. I'm not sure. I did better numbers last week. I think we're up there, what, 72 at the minute? And to be fair, if I put an interesting thumbnail and something in the title that attracts people, so much the better. But I will always talk about the stuff that I have in the title and stuff. Of course I will. I'm not going to clickbait people by going, oh, I'm going to talk about sort of the brand new edition of, second edition of Kill Team, the new one that's coming out. And then not actually talk about Kill Team because it doesn't exist, the second edition. Yeah, that's not me. Scott Longworth says, the highlight of my week is finally here. What's going on with you lot? You're sharing the love again this week, that's for sure. And Phil says, you demand. VG is in the chat, in the chat from last week for the prize tonight. Krabby's all about the ad revenue now. He's changed. That's it, mate, now. Busey saying it's the Vino. Joe says, 46 and me either. Haven't been to a fancy dress party. Joe, I think we might need to have an official BlackJack Legacy. In fact, I think we'll probably call it cosplay as opposed to I've completely sidetracked there because it's just pinged up on my watch that Scott Longworth has just joined the Patreon. I'm sure it'll pop up on the screen any minute as well. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Yeah, we'll have a fancy dress party, whatever the hell you call them these days. Where are we at? Tony says, I've been running out of steam on my slow grow, so I took a break. I'm going to have to speed something through for this month. You'll catch up, mate. Don't worry about that one. You'll get there. You'll get there. There's no real rush to it, is there? I mean, the whole point in the slow grow thing, really, there's the ping. I knew it was coming through. Thank you, Scott. The whole thing with the slow grow really is just to motivate people to just do it little and often, really. You take a break, you'll catch up. You can get one unit. I mean, I painted those 2 cannons. It took me about 3 or 4 hours on Saturday afternoon, and there was 220 points. So with a couple of well-placed characters or hero models or something, you'll soon be back on track, mate. David Moffat says, is hashtag BlackJack Arenos going to be the official BlackJack Legacy hashtag? It might well be, mate. Scott said he got Operation Red Veil and Beyond Red Veil for 100 quid. Takes him to 300 points. Nice, mate. It's not a bad deal at all, that. Lee says, have you cracked on buying Legion yet? I haven't, mate, but probably only because I don't think anywhere's got it in stock. That's probably why. But stop posting them bloody good pictures. I'm really, really impressed with your Stormtroopers, mate. Or the Clone Troopers, I should say. They look awesome. Barry said he's finally figured out Discord. Thanks for the link. Not a problem, mate. VJ says, or is it rosy because they're vodka, not water? Yeah, I can see me having like a half-bar pint glass of vodka. That would be an interesting stream. Maybe for my birthday we might do that one. John Francis in as well, or he would be if I hadn't jumped off my screen. This is even all hope everyone's safe and well. Skull Munch says the Snotling Blood Bowl team was the highlight of the GW reveals. I tell you what, mate, on that bombshell, as they would say, let's get the Warcry stuff up. And I will come back to the chat, so I know where Skull Munch's comment was there, 9:14. I'll come back and we'll chat that one over. So, folks, from the magic of technology there, it goes straight across. Preview 3. So as I say, there was 3 out of the last 4 weeks. The first reveal, dry throat. The first reveal was something that was kind of sneakily revealed, the last reveal thing. And this was the Gargants, the Sons of Behemat. Or Behemat, but it definitely sounds like it should be the Sons of Behemat. Especially when you get ale guzzlers. So I'll play this video in the background while we're chatting away here. So this is essentially the new giants, if you like, for Age of Sigmar. And as you can see there, I'll quickly pause that. You can see, yeah, you can see my cursor. This gentleman here, with a very fetching stomach hanging out there, is the old GW Giants. And then these guys in the background are the the Gargants, I think they're called. So GW have finally sort of brought out a proper sized giant. Not that I'm suggesting that maybe they might have followed Mantic's lead and brought out something that was a little bit more true to the statue of what a giant should be. But yeah, they've decided to release this. And the Sons of Bahamut are essentially, you can run them as a force, or you can also, let me play that again, let's get that one away, or you can include them as kind of almost allies in certain other armies as well. So I think we'll start to see a lot of these getting painted up when they come out. To be fair, the models are absolutely fantastic sculpts. They are they really are some of the nicest sculpts that I think GW do. There is stacks and stacks of detail on them. Price wise, I've got no idea how much they're going to be. However, let's go down here so you can see them a little bit better. Now these three versions all come from the same kit. So any of these three Gargants, basically you can build from one kit. So there's loads of customization available for them. There is, I forget what their names are. I don't know if it tells you here anywhere. No, I don't think it does, but let's just skip through them. So you've got this guy here. There is another one who's basically kind of carrying a corpse off his shoulder. He's got some kind of like tentacle hanging down from his belt here as well. He's got like his kind of fishing sack and a bit of sort of rigging or fishing net type thing around his stomach, which is really nice. But I like how there is a very different pose from that one than there is to that one. So that if you think that one there is kind of swinging around to the right hand side, his torso, this one's swinging around to the left hand side. There's a lot of movement from that one kit. And then the last one is this one that is kind of leaning into it. He's got that kind of like the hangman, the executioner type sort of mask, if you like, on. He's got pieces of kind of portcullis hanging on here. There's kind of bits of shuttering and stuff around his waist. There's a bell, something that looks like, I can't even tell what that is. Is it like a rock or something like that, wrapped around in chains as well? And he's got a handful of villagers that seem to be escaping as well. So the models are fantastic. Can't really complain about them. I think the price, they've got to be upwards of, like, let's think price wise. We've got to be seeing 60, 70 quid for these, haven't we? I can't imagine they're going to be less than £50, but they might surprise us. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be lovely to paint. I'm sure we'll see loads of them. There'll be a lot of people pick these things up just because they're nice models. But what I would say is, folks, if you're tempted, I would definitely suggest checking out the Mantic Giant if you haven't already seen it. There's a number of different options for it as well. It's an equally fantastic sculpt. And is also plastic as well. And I think, off the top of my head, I think the Mantic Giant is still taller than these ones as well. I think I paid like 20 quid for mine. So it just shows how much they are in comparison. But yeah, kind of just sort of what you pays your money, you takes your choice kind of thing. But that's those coming. This shows you the difference in size between the original GW Giant and these new fellas. And it basically says the Sons of Bahamut are a brand new army made up entirely of Gargants. The classic Ale Guzzler Gargant and the three Mega Gargant variants, a Gatebreaker, a War Stomper and a Kraken Eater. Make for an army that's small on model count and big in every other way. It'll be interesting to see when it says small on model count. I wonder just how many models it has, because one of the things from Age of Sigmar is that low model count armies never seem to play very well. So I can't imagine them being particularly competitive, or they might be for the first month until they get FAQ'd. But it's saying, as well as them being an army in their own right, every single Warhammer Age of Sigmar faction can take one as an ally. So yes, I think we'll definitely see plenty of these on the table. And I think they should sell really well, bearing in mind it doesn't matter what army you've got, you can take one with you. So the next one was Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. And as you can see here, it says the adventure ends. So my assumption is that basically this is the grand finale. This is the last sort of expansion for Blackstone Fortress. I would like to think that it's been successful enough that they'll maybe do some kind of a follow-up, maybe like a second version of Blackstone Fortress with a new story, a little bit like they did with Silver Tower when they brought out, what was the second one called? Something City of Hammerhall or something like that it was. But it's saying basically you opened the hidden vault, raided the lair of the dreaded Amble, you defeated the Obsidious Malax twice, and fought the Chaos and Xenos enemies the Blackstone Fortress has thrown at you. Now it's time for the grand finale. And Ascension, basically as it's called, is the spectacular final act of Blackstone Fortress saga. Like any good ending, it's gonna be explosive. Now I'll be honest, I've never played Blackstone Fortress. I've heard nothing but good things about it from people like you in the chat. But I was a bit underwhelmed by this model, if I'm honest. And the reason I'm a bit underwhelmed by it is it just doesn't look anything particularly special to me. Now, I do understand that this small thing here that it's holding in its hands is the standard size of kind of a GW model. So these things are going to be big in comparison. But the actual model itself for me is not particularly inspiring. I'm sure if you've played Blackstone Fortress, these things will be kind of part of the story, part of the narrative. You'll be looking forward to playing it. But for me, as just kind of somebody on the sidelines looking in, they're all right. You know what I mean? They're all right. That's kind of all it is for me. But yeah, I'm assuming that the storyline and to see that storyline conclude will be the bigger draw. Now we're going to talk about elves at the 8 points. Now this is the Warcry stuff I want to talk about. So, and basically what they're saying is, for years you lot kept asking for elves, and boy have the Warhammer Studio delivered. You've got blood-soaked elves, fish-riding elves, and now shiny elves. Had enough yet? No, thought not. So let's take a look at Warcry Warband, made up entirely of elves from the realm of shadow. So these are the Khainite Shadowstalkers. And they're basically the spies that Marathi uses to enforce her will across the mortal realms. And basically it's renowned for its stealth, that they're sneaky. And it says, in the midst of the shadows, only the mist has a poison dagger and a repeater crossbow. These dynamic models hark back to classic Dark Elf aesthetic from the world that was, that of Khain worshippers like assassins and shades. So they've definitely got that kind of Dark Elf aesthetic. I love these models. This is the first Warband sort of specific faction, or Warband if you like, Warcry Warband, that I've been really excited to see since Corvus Cabal, I would say. There's been some nice ones. I've not disliked any of them, but a lot of them were just gladiatorial kind of, just sort of chaos fighters, if you like. I really think Corvus Cabal went in a very different direction with the feathers and the wings and the kind of the stilts and things. These guys are again another step in that same direction of doing something a little bit different. No idea what the names of these things are, but essentially we're seeing 3 of them here. There'll be more to come in the future. The interesting thing for this is it is the first Warcry specific faction that isn't chaos. Now that to me is even more exciting than seeing these new folks, because what it means is the future of Warcry is branching out now. I'm sure everybody remembers that I said I wasn't the biggest fan of bringing in the standard AOS factions into Warcry. I almost wanted Warcry to be its own kind of part of the Mortal Realm universe without everything coming in. I'm not against it if so much. I've just had more fun, I think, playing generally standard Warcry Warbands. But this is exciting. This shows where it's going in a bit of a different direction. Could this be the start of showing maybe a season 2, like a kind of like a second starter box release or something like that? Will we see them in a second starter box? Will we see a brand new kind of terrain and a brand new setting ready for breaking out from the kind of from the chaos elements? Who knows? But it's bloody exciting. So yes, we've got this. I can only assume that this model must be some kind of leader model. Looks very feminine, and certainly the color scheme for me, actually, I actually really like. I like that purple and turquoise blue. This one I think has to be my favourite. This could feature in so many different kinds of games. I can imagine this in Rangers of Shadow Deep. I can imagine using this as a model that I would play in a game of D&D, for example. It's just got it kind of. It evokes that, if anybody's familiar with the Thief PC games and computer games, it feels that very thematic kind of dark, roguish kind of thief figure. Love the double repeater crossbows. It just not so sure on the leather pants, but hey, you can't have everything. And this last one, very much kind of some kind of like shadow cloak around it. Reminds me of the Cypher Lords, where the leader model had kind of 3 arms with a bit of a fake arm and a one inside. It's got that swoop and lots of movement to it. But I really like these models. And then if I crack on a little bit further, it basically says, come to your games of Warcry soon. Good time to start painting some reinforcements for your warbands. They also shared this, which is another one of the new Luminous Realm Lords models, the new Elves. The model itself doesn't really do anything for me, if I'm perfectly honest. It's not something that I will collect. But I tell you what I do love, the paint scheme is phenomenal. The painting of that kind of like sort of netting or that really thin kind of silk scarf across the face, and showing that it's still material across the face, but with the face coming through, is phenomenal. It's a completely just different quality. There you see a bit of a better close-up of it there. So yeah, it's called Sinari Cathola. Cathola, I think that's what it says. Yeah, I think if you're into that, you'll like it. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much just a nice model, really, basically. Blood Bowl, let's put this one on as well. So anybody that's into Blood Bowl, you know I love Blood Bowl, folks. I have to say that this, when I saw it, it's a lot of fun. It's the kind of thing I could imagine picking up just to paint, just to have on the shelf, because there's just so much character in this. You get that, whatever that, the pump wagon, you get that with it as well as part of the team. There's just lots of little things in it, and I'll come on to a couple of things that I thought were really fun once the video is over. But it says, no, you're not hallucinating. These are snotlings. A team of snotlings. Sure, they have a pump wagon, and sure, there are loads of them, but you know they're snotlings. They make goblins look fierce, and halflings seem thoroughly athletic by comparison. And yeah, there's just like a load of character. This one with his kind of trumpet. There's another one. This one here with one sock seems pretty angry that he's lost a sock. There's another one that seems to have stolen the sock and is wearing it on his head as a hat. This guy on his stilts, and the stilts stuck in a boot. And then the pump wagon itself as well. Just loads of character. The guy with the catapult on top there, he's got his frying pan, which looks like it's seen better days. Even just down to the one kind of hanging off the side, like waving his rocks around in the air. It's a really fun little team, and I think I'd potentially pick this up just to paint for a bit of fun, just to have on the shelf. And then into the Horus Heresy. I don't know a lot about the background of 40k. I did not know who this character was when they talked about it, but Saul Torvitz was one of the first ever named Horus Heresy Space Marines, and his appearances in Black Diary's Horus Heresy novels only cemented his popularity. His death at Istvan III, after he led a desperate army of Imperial loyalists in defiance of Horus' betrayal, made him a legend. So yeah, it's a nice model, but to be fair, it's like every week there's a new Space Marine character, so it doesn't feel like anything too new. You've got the standard pose of one leg on a rock kind of thing, making it look a bit more dynamic. It's nice. It's a nice paint job. It's not something personally that I know a lot about or will be picking up. We found out about Psychic Awakening, which is the Pariah, which is the next one. I won't play the video for this. Essentially, we're getting a new Necron model, which is, what is it called? Illumina Suraz, I think it is, a new Necron character, which is quite nice if you're into Necrons, because you've not had much new for a while. So yeah, some very classic kind of, these kind of legs are very much like the something Stalker, I think it is, that you get in the Star Collecting box. So there's a lot of familiar kind of bits to it that you'll be sort of familiar with. But I do like this kind of whatever this Imperial character we've got down here. Almost like it's like sucking his life out of him. Really quite like that model, actually. And then we've also got Inquisitor Kyra Draxus as well. Nice model. Not so keen on the face, but I get it fits with the kind of the lore about what it should be. Dragon on the shoulders, a little bit Game of Thrones for me. Some kind of weird alien weapon as well in her hand. Nice sculpt, nice paint job. Again, not really something I'll pick up, but I appreciate if you're into Horus Heresy stuff, it's probably right up your street. There was a bit more about hammers and bolter. What's it called again? The graphic sort of animation stuff, which looked quite nice with some Sisters of Battle stuff in it. And we also had these two models as well. Basically, were meant to be kind of show exclusive type things, but they've released them both. This model is fantastic. It's available for 2 weeks. If you want it, make sure you pre-order it. And then this is the other model. A Terminator Librarian, another Space Marine, standard kind of stuff. If you're into Space Marines, I'm sure it's right up your street again, but it does feel like we see the same kind of things. It would be nice if we started to see some orcs in there. We see some kind of even like Necrons and things like that, to see some other factions. But I get when they do these one-off models, they sell to the kind of factions that sell really well, and Space Marines is always going to be that kind of thing. Yeah, and we've just discussed that model there. And then it says basically the Warhammer preview, this is a bit I wanted to touch on, Warhammer preview comes to an end, so there isn't any more previews. It says, don't be sad, there's more to come. Although we've given you 3 looks into the future, we have even more to show you. Keep an eye on the Warhammer community website in early May for more information when you can expect the next preview. And make sure you do, because you really, really, really won't want to miss out. So, the bit I've always had that good feeling that 9th edition's on its way. It's been rumoured for quite some time 9th edition's on its way. I think this whole coronavirus situation and the fact that they've closed down and they're not selling stuff and their shops are closed and all that kind of stuff, I think we are basically, well, I think we're seeing it delayed, and I think they've been dragging these announcements out to try and see what the situation was. When are they going to be able to reopen again? When can people go out and sort of get games in, to try and peak when they're going to announce this thing? And unfortunately, we're not in a situation where we are at that stage yet. So it would be foolish to basically to release like a new edition of that game in the current situation. But I think the fact we've had a lack of 40k stuff outside of the Psychic Awakening stuffs, I think that's where my money is. I pure speculation, don't have any insider information, but I think that's where I think we are. So let's have a quick look in the chat, and then we'll see what people are saying, and then we'll dive back in and we'll do the draw for the mugs. Skullmunch was John France says, evening all, hope all safe and well. Thank you, buddy. Skullmunch says, Snotland Blood Bowl team was a highlight of the GW reveals. I'm not a Blood Bowl fan, but I must admit I did like them. Tony says, I do love the GW stuff, not a fanboy, just take an objective view. Yeah, I agree, mate. I think there's no denying they make fantastic sculpts. None of those models are kind of like badly made, if you like. They're just either your taste or they're not. Palmsy saying he liked the Blackstone drones. I think if you're into Blackstone, they're probably, like I say, right up your street. Tiberius is saying, not a corona cough. Krabby says, the reveals on Saturday were the worst yet. He thinks for a number of reasons, just not up to much. They were probably the best for me, but only because of the Warcry stuff. I've not, like, there's been a distinct lack of Warcry stuff over the last few weeks. So yeah, I was happy to see that. I think from the other stuff, I'm surprised we didn't see more Aeronautica Imperialis. I'm surprised we didn't see more 40k stuff. I mean, in the time we've had these 3 announcements, they've basically revealed 2 new factions for AOS. So that's why I think they're really holding back on the 40k stuff until they can actually get it out there and start selling the stuff. Mark Corley said, I thought the new Kings of War Giants were the best thing about the GW reveal. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. I think we'll see a few of those in Kings of War. Peter says he took the time to watch the first lot of GW reveals and almost fell asleep. Yeah, I think the first one was a bit stagnated. I think they dragged it out a bit. They kept cutting and having breaks and stuff. And I think by the second and third one, they'd found a format that worked. There was a lot of chat and banter and stuff like that. That basically just, unless you're a real fanboy, I think it wouldn't have been that interesting. But it's nice to see some new stuff. In the current climate, we're not seeing a lot of new stuff. It's hard to find stuff to talk about at the minute, like that, about what's coming down the line, what's new stuff should we look forward to. So actually, any news is good news at the minute. Christian saying they look good, comical. We'll have to arrange a Snotling versus Snotling game. I like that one, mate. Kieran says, and everyone turns up dressed as Andy. John Francis, did I win a mug? We've not pulled it yet, mate. We've not drawn that one. Wow, there's a lot of chat while I've been rambling away there, isn't there? Let's have a look. Oh my God, where was it? I'm just going to dive in here because I can't find it. Julian Anker says, just pick up Legion today to paint and play with his daughter. Nice choice, mate. Marco's in as well. He's painting some Walking Dead, the Prisoner expansion. VJ says, was pretty great to see Mantic releasing digital Kings of War rules. Having a read through them now, I'm going to pull the trigger on Kings of War 3 starter box. Yeah, it's, to be honest, mate, I mean, you've obviously read through them now, but it's a good rule set. And like I would say, if I wasn't wired up, I'd go and get my rule book now and show you. The main rule book is worth the money, even just for the lore and stuff in the background. Dave Mackey says, Tech Wizard. I have no idea what that was in reference to. Mike G's in as well. Hello. VJ saying, be a mat for sure. Yeah, I think so as well. Krabby says his gut was clearly modelled on mine. And then they added a bit more on and made it look like mine, mate. Andy Smith's in. Hello, fella. Mike G says, I'm seeing different reports on the size of them to Mantics. I saw a picture the other day which showed a Mantic giant versus the current GW giant, and judging by the scale picture that they did, I think they're going to be roughly around the same size, with the Mantic one probably just edging it out. The Mantic ones are a lot thinner, which I think makes them look taller. These ones are a bit more kind of stocky and overweight. James is saying, can't wait to get his hands on the Mega Giant. Krabby says 65 quid each, I reckon, similar to Magnus. That's kind of where I'm pitching it, mate, to be fair, because there's, for all you can make 3 different kits from it. There's going to be a lot of like extra bits that you won't use, so every box is going to have them extra bits in, and I think that's what will push the price a bit. Scott says he still prefers the Mantic Giant. VJ says never looked at the Mantic Giants before, just Googled them, very nice. Yeah, I've got a video, mate, which basically is a kind of like an unboxing, if you like, shows how it goes together, gives you some nice close-ups of the detail in the sculpt. It's really nicely made, to be fair. Tim says, Kraken Hunter, Wallwrecker, and Keith is their names. Luke Breyer's in. Hello, fella. How are you doing? Tiberius is saying 75 quid. I think because they're going to, like, how much were knights and stuff like that? Because it's a similar kind of thing, isn't it? It's essentially like a knight's army for AOS. How much were the knights? Because I can imagine they'll be on a similar price to them. Simon York says he's killing the new Crooked Dice Giant. I don't think I've seen that one, mate. Dave's saying he's got 2 Mantic Giants, awesome for the price they are, mate. Marco's saying poor Blackstone Fortress. Yeah, if you're into that, mate, that's it. The story arc's over. David's saying those long spindly legs should break real nice. They're pretty flexible, the GW stuff, to be fair, mate. A lot of the stuff where people say, oh, they'll not last 5 minutes, seem to last, all right? Transporting them is going to be a killer, I think. VJ saying the drones look a bit boring. They look a bit boring to me, but I don't know anything. They might be kind of critical in the story, and actually you might really appreciate them for what they are and what they do, kind of thing. Krabby's still not a fan of the paint job. VJ said they did hint that the end of Blackstone Fortress will have ramifications for the entire 40k set, and they did. I forgot about that. It says people are speculating that it's going to be a backdoor launch of a new faction. Interesting. Tony Singh loves the new Warband reveal. Not impressed with the Cow Elves. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those either. I'm going to have to try and pronounce this one. Langweilger's Profil, I hope that's right. It says Iron Jaw's Warcry cards still out of print. Yeah, they're not coming back, mate. They were never coming back. All of the faction details are available in the Tome of Champions. So if you do want to play Iron Jaws, you can still get the stats for them, but they've never reprinted any of the cards, so that's why. Von Wood's in as well. Says hope everyone's doing well. A bit late tonight. That's okay, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Flying Mouse says wish the shadows were clear plastic. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I quite like that actually. Richard Smith says same Andy since Splintered Fang I've been meh. Was hoping for something big from Scions of the Flame. They're nice, but they're nothing kind of flash. I don't know that they might be the first thing I don't pick up actually. First shut up and take my moment. First shut up and take my money moment since launch. Yeah, I'd agree, mate. Actually, I really do like them. VJ says cow elves are moist elves. Barry says really like this new Warcry Warband dual crossbows. Yeah, nice. Tyre Baby says I think I like that last one. I'm assuming that was the last one I showed. I think that was the one that had kind of the cloak coming around. Christian's sharing the link to the t-shirts and the hoodies. Thank you, Christian. Vaughn would say I think the Dark Elves are lovely. They do fit the feel of Warcry, and I actually quite like the old kind of the old Corsair models and stuff like that. And the what was the Dark Elves? The ones that were on the horses. I forget what they're called now. Was it some kind of knights or something? Anyway, I used to like those old Warhammer Fantasy models as well. Mark says don't like the shadow effect. I'm not sure if it's meant to be a shadow or if it's just meant to be like a cloak. I'm sure we'll find out more about it, to be fair. Kelly Cordell, nice to see you. This Warband looks great. Ty Babies likes that. Last elf looked very vampiric. It did have a bit of a vampiric look about it. Kelly saying, dang, work meeting, gotta go. See you, Kelly. Steve Evans says, love the painting model. Oh, love the painting model. Yeah, that's kind of where I was as well. Model's beautifully painted. Pity next to no one's going to be able to do it. That is exactly what I thought as well. Tyrese thought the pump wagon. Scott said that's him in the Discord group. Ginger balls. I did see that flash up on my phone. Mate. Nice to have you in the group. Brian saying he loves the Snotlings as well. David loves the Snotlings. Be good for old Warhammer Fantasy battles. Flying Mammal saying snot, literally add snot all of my gobbos, can't wait. Yeah, they do look fun. VJ saying fingers crossed for Snottings in Blitzball Season 2. Now we have a plastic team. Quite possibly, mate, isn't it? We've got 2 jokes in. Nice to see you, Nick. How are you? Tybase is saying Proto Marine, none of your kids-friendly Age of Sigmar ones. Mike G says he's best known for his amazing waffles. Waffly versatile, mate. Where are we at, Scott? What's the current Infinity rulebook, Andy? Current one is N3, mate, but N4 is just around the corner. So by August, we'll be seeing the new N4 rulebook, mate. So if I was you, I would hold off. The Code 1 rules, which are the slimmed down rules, will be coming end of this month. And that is basically like the framework that the N4 rules will be built upon. So it's worth picking up the Code 1 rules, which will be a free download, reading through those, and then essentially N4 will build upon that, mate. If you can't wait, N3 is the current rule set. Dave Mighty said another one on a rock. Christian Cena likes the Dragon Marine. Looks like a fat elder, says Gene. Where we are. Krabby says, she's new, I think, from Awakening storyline in 40k, not Horus Heresy. I think it was it not part of the... Oh, yeah, sorry, it wasn't Horus Heresy, mate. It was the part of the, whatever it's called. Psychic Awakenings, that's right. George is in as well. It says, evening, Andy, just in from the X-Wing game in the shed. So how did it go, mate? Did you win? Nick saying, is it just me or is the stream a bit twitchy? I've no idea, mate. What I would say is check to see, because I think what YouTube have been doing is they've been slowing down everybody's viewing. So when you first log in, it doesn't always automatically put you onto 1080p. So check, mate, because it might be just it might be streaming at like 360 or something like that. Mark was saying, I don't believe the 2 made-to-order models were planned to be limited edition, squeezing as much pre-order money as possible at the moment. Yeah, I think they were meant to be like show models, mate. You know, like when they have like the Adepticon show weekend ones. But yeah, they definitely are now. Mark was saying the stream's okay. VJ says, I don't see 9th edition 40k coming myself. I think they'll just keep going with the campaign books and the yearly refresh. I think it's ready for a bit of a reset, mate. Like not to completely overhaul it, but a little bit like what they did with Age of Sigmar 2, which wasn't really like it wasn't a big relaunch, if you like. It was almost a bit of a tightening of the rules, of like we're including all the FAQs and things, and then it was a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an advance in the storyline. Like they brought in endless spells and that kind of stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if it actually doesn't get any simpler. It actually becomes more kind of, it grows more arms and legs, if you like. So I think 9th edition, it might not even be called 9th edition, but I think that there's some new version coming. But But I think, I mean, AOS goes the same way. They have the General's Handbook every year, the same as you have the chapter approved for 40k, but they still, after about 3 years, which is what they tend to do, there's almost that reset, if you like. And the reason they do that is it just sets that ball rolling again, doesn't it? And gets everybody buying new armies and gives them a reason to bring out all the new codexes. And it's that kind of 3-year cycle of like refreshing everything, really. It's been 3 years, to be fair, mate. It came out in 2017. So it's been 3 years this summer that it's been out. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do something with it. Where are we at? Scott saying just... Peter saying it looks twitchy when I don't drink. Scott says just popping out to look for the comets in the space station. Lee says Warcry Warband was the highlight for me. I think you might be right regarding 9th edition. That's kind of like where I'm at, mate. Yeah. Jimmy G's in as well. Nice to see you, Jimmy. Gene saying new Escher look bomb. Want some of those to jack up my gang. Krabby's saying it's the subject of its own, but it was the delivery that I was referring to as opposed to the models themselves. Yeah, I get the impression that they'd been really hanging on, hoping that they would have some news about when they were going to reopen again so they could talk about the good stuff. And I think they just didn't really have... They almost didn't have the energy to talk about it, do you know what I mean? It was weird. Peter says, I always worry about when it's comets. Ever seen the Trivets films? Tony said, the only problem with the Space Marine and for the AOS equivalent for that matter is that they all look the same. Yeah, I do get that, mate. Fiji saying, so the new Daughters of Cain Warcry Warband, interesting. They only showed 3. There's a Daughters of Cain Warband for Underworlds due as well. I think they did the same thing when they showed like Scions of the Flame, and they did the same thing when they showed some of the original Warbands. It's just a way to kind of to tease it and to drag it out for another few weeks, I think. So basically, in a few weeks' time, if they've got nothing else to talk about, they'll show you some more from the Warband, essentially. Luke says, I only have one thing to say about the Rams helmet behind you, and it's go Dolphins. Dolphins. How very dare you. Palmsy saying the delivery was awful, couple of blokes in their bedroom. I am surprised they didn't try and do something. I mean, surely they could have delivered some kind of like, you know, they've got those little like foldy out banners and stuff like that. I'm sure they could have put something behind them just like, instead of just, I mean, they look like every other YouTuber. Do you know what I mean? It looked like any other YouTube stream, basically, which just goes to show, like, like even when they have to make do with what they've got, then like it's not like they suddenly have like anything better than we've got with our stuff, if you like. Where we at? Carrie saying they released the rules for AOS solo player. They did release that as well. Look like it's, I mean, you have to have the models that, or you kind of have to have something to stand in for the models they were talking about, but it's good they've done something. Gene saying, I think they're solid. Spindly legs do a tripod trick once they're based. Yeah, I think it's not going to be too twisty and so it'll be quite stiff. Where else are we at? I think Black Riders or Cold One Nights. Cold One Nights is the ones I was thinking of, mate. Thank you. Where are we at? Tiberius is saying he's thinking of getting stuck into Dark Elder. Krabby saying next storyline in 40k has got to be War, surely. That or the whole Necrons commanding the Tyranids thing. People have been guessing for years, haven't they? It never comes out what people want. Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do, folks. We are going to go and we're going to do the live draw for the mugs. How many people we got in? How many people have stuck around? 77 people. So let's see. So what I've got, folks, is... So this is the video that you had to go and comment on. And I'm going to highlight... let me just highlight it. Highlight the name of the video. And then go across to the random YouTube picker. I'm going to put it into there. Filter duplicates. So if you've commented more than once, you'll only get one go in it. I'll load the comments. No comments found. Why is it playing funny buggers? Let me go back and just refresh this for whatever reason. And there's the advert comes up. So let's copy that again. Let's refresh that as well. Make sure that's all working right. Control that. Get YouTube comments. Yes, so we've got 47 comments in there this time. So then we go down to here And we press start. So best of luck, folks. Remember, 3 people are going to win mugs tonight. So yeah, I haven't got anything to write this down, so I'll have to remember this. I'll have to watch it back. So here's the first one, the first winner of the mug. And remember, this is VJ Morph. One for you, VJ. One will be winging its way across the ocean to you, sir. After coming back to comment tonight, he's just snuck in there, and at least you were in the chat last week, mate. I'll give you that one. So yes, VJ, that's one of them. Somebody send me a message with all these down so I don't have to watch my own video back. And remember, folks, this is going to be the mug that the 3 people win tonight will be a special mug that it'll never be available again as well, just to kind of celebrate me going full time in this channel. So we pick another winner. Where's my mouse? There it is. The second winner after VJ is going to be Krabby Vision. Krabby Vision, there you go, mate. Nicely done. So there's 2 down. Who is going to be the third one? So we've got VJ, Krabby Vision, and we've got, who's it going to be? It is Marco. There you go. 3 regulars anyway, that's for sure. Nice to see some winners. So that's it, Marco. Marco, Krabby, and VJ are the winners. Awesome stuff. I will be in touch with you 3 gentlemen to get your addresses, and we'll get them mugs sent out to you. So thank you very much, folks, for taking part in that. We'll go back to the chat now, and we'll see how it's going. So yeah, congrats, folks. Everyone's saying congratulations. This will take me no time to catch up with the chat because they all just say congrats. Palmsy is a Krabby Vision saying there as well. I want a mug. There you go, mate. You got one. Palmsy saying there. I understand that, but GW, throw them a couple of banners or do something. I thought that as well, mate. I thought that as well. Everybody's saying yeah. Morning says Adam. Nice to see you in, Adam. How are you doing? Ruby saying a game like Rangers of Shadowdeep would work great for GW. They would sell miniatures and terrain. I guess it's. You could almost take Warcry and play Rangers of Shadowdeep, to be fair, because it's got that kind of setting of like out in the wilds, little quiet warbands and stuff. Everybody's saying well done. Congrats to everybody. I'll catch up with all that stuff as well. VJ says stoked. I never win stuff. Well, tonight you have, sir. And Krabby Vision saying buzzing about that, mate. Thank you. You are welcome. I didn't do anything. I just pressed the button, mate. And Joe saying congrats, guys. John France saying well done. Yoakum as well. Nice to see you, Yoakum. Saying congrats to the winners. Claudio saying really glad for you, but still jealous. Right, folks. I'm going to have a quick drink while you're all patting each other on the back there. Excuse me. So then, what else was I going to talk about? I'm sure there was something else. Luke Pryor there saying, I wonder if GW ever seriously considered doing anything historical. No. And I tell you why. Because they can't copyright it. They can't put a trademark on it because it's historical and they can't own historical stuff. They wanted to, Luke saying, I know the Warlord guys pitched it. They did. GW turned it down for that very reason. That's one of the reasons why the Warlord guys went off and started Warlord once they got made redundant. They're essentially, they can't own the rights to it. They can't stop anybody else copying their IPs. And Krabby saying they do 30k. Is that technically historical or is it technically still like way in the future? VJ says super keen to see more solo rule sets from GW. I think the longer this goes on, they're going to have to look at it. It wouldn't surprise me if we see something for Kill Team coming. It wouldn't surprise me if they adapt the solo AOS rules to do something with Warcry. Certainly with things like Blackstone Fortress, you can play it solo. Yeah, be interesting to see what they do. Pete says he's off to look at the comets. No problem, mate. See you later. James is saying wife's got his dinner on the table. Catch the rest later. Everybody's upset now because they didn't win a mug. Funball's in and says, any thoughts on how they roll out all the stuff that's been announced during this lockdown? Hi, by the way. Hello. They won't roll it out, mate. They won't do anything with it until this lockdown is lifted, or certainly until they are up and running again and at full speed, which is one of the reasons why I think they're holding back on some of the stuff. I think they know they've got to do something in the meantime, so they're sharing some stuff, but I think the data are all getting nudged back and nudged back and nudged back. The pre-order stuff, you basically, like the stuff that's available for 2 weeks at the moment, you pay for it, you pre-order it, you don't get it until they're up and running again. They've been doing that thing with the vouchers lately as well, where if you buy vouchers, you get some discount on those. They're just trying to get some money through the coffers, basically, while they're in lockdown. So they're doing a lot of pre-order stuff at the moment. But, yeah. Where we are. John Bingham's in as well. Nice to see you. He's pretty surprised by the negative comments on the GW previews. They were done out of people's back rooms because that's a global pandemic. They could have shelved the whole thing. I think, to be fair, mate, I think it's they did it with what they had, basically. I'm just surprised that they didn't try and do something else. Do you know what I mean? For example, I'm surprised somebody didn't go into Warhammer World and run it from there. They could have had two of them at completely different areas and kind of run it from there, you know, like the way they do with the news in the morning kind of thing and stuff. But at the end of the day, it worked. We got to see the reveals. Seeing people's bedrooms wasn't the highlight of the thing. That wasn't the whole point of it. It was more to do with the videos that they showed, basically. Luke says, I'd like to see them do a weird war thing like Conflict 47. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, actually. Like something like that could work almost, but I think the worry is that the AOS and 40k are always going to be their kind of their bread and butter, their big selling stuff, and everything else is designed as a feeder, or it's designed as to bring in the people that are never going to play those games. If you put another kind of main rule set in there, I guess alongside Lord of the Rings, really, it just detracts people, basically. They're almost are they even at saturation point, really? I mean, they're trying to attract people now that don't play games, really, because they've pretty much mopped up the people that are out there playing games. George is saying didn't want to mug anyway. John says, but they didn't, and that was blessed relief for me to have something to distract from the chaos at work. No, I agree, mate. I'm not knocking them for it, kind of thing. I'm just surprised. It's not like them, to be fair. And maybe they didn't want to give the impression that it was more polished. VJ says they should really jump on it, given the situation. Even just get Jarvis or Jess to throw something together. I think the longer it goes on, the more we'll see this kind of thing happening, to be fair. Christian saying they had Warhammer Historicals at one point, like Ancient Battles. They did, but it was just a book, wasn't it? They didn't have like anything specific for it, I don't think. Steve saying, yeah, it was just rule sets. Glenn says 2+ stuff was adapting the AOS solo rules for Warcry. I did see that, mate, actually. Yeah, he'd adapted the stuff that Sam Pearson had already done, didn't he? VJ said, not everyone is upset they didn't win a mug. Luke saying, you're right, they did have Warhammer Historicals. It's supposed to be very good. Still get a lot of love today. Completely slipped my mind. Yeah, basically they just did the rules, didn't they? I assume it was more probably like back in the day when things were a bit different then. Where are we at? Fumble saying, for historical stuff, I figure that's sort of what Horus Heresy is. I think when it comes, well, maybe that's what the new old world thing is like you're saying, but I think the historical stuff people are talking about is like maybe proper historical stuff. Steve's saying one of his club mates, Rob Broom, was the manager of the GW Horus Historicals before they canned it. Interesting, mate. Morgo says, no, I can face Skull Munch with pride, mug buddies. VJ saying, I've heard the Lord of the Rings rule set's pretty good. Maybe do a historical game using that. There's a lot of people say the historical saying that the Lord of the Rings rule set's good. I can't get away with it, but I think that's just my personal taste, to be fair. Chris Packham saying he's doing daily wildlife show in his back garden, white bedrooms. I guess that's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't invade in people's stuff. That's probably where they've got their PCs and stuff. Krabby saying they have full-on production companies on the payroll, and the also main issues are how boring the presenters were. To be fair, the presenters are the presenters. They'd have been there even if it was in the main studio type thing, even if they did it in Warhammer World from the main studio, I think they still would have been the presenters, to be fair. They said that Chris Peach was having a weekend off this week, so he didn't do it from his home. Yeah. Not Chris Peach, sorry. What's the other guy called? Wade Price. Krabby Vision says, could have established community people. They're never going to do that, mate. They are never going to get the kind of the top table tactics people doing it. Because it has to be the party line, doesn't it? It's got to be the employees saying exactly what they want them to say, basically. Yeah, Luke's confirming there what he meant, like World War II and Napoleonics and stuff. Jimmy G saying other companies do really good historical stuff. It's a crowded market. Why do we need another rule set? I'm not really sure, mate. I think sometimes what happens is GW tend to see rule sets that other people are making good money from and then want to get involved in them, basically. There's a lot of what they've done with skirmish games. When skirmish games became popular, I think it's potentially one of the reasons why they're going back to square bases. They're seeing, something just pinged up on my screen there. Yoakum just pledged on via Patreon. Thank you very much, Yoakum. Hugely appreciated. I think because we got 2 more now, I'm up to 71 Patreons now, which is amazing. And remember, folks, I am going to be giving away my fully painted Hero Quest game when I reach 100 Patreons. It's going to go to one of the Patreons. So if you want to be in it, there's no time like the present to become a Patreon. We're back now, folks. I don't know what happened there. We'll have to air. It's back now, folks. You'll be able to hear it. Where was I saying? I like that comment now, mate. Nice one. We got it back now. Should we see frozen screen? I think my screen's still going. It's fine. Says the puppeteer controlling Andy just fell asleep. It better be his mic or the 40-inch TV's just gone down the shitter. I like that one, mate. Thank you, Christian, for ringing me there. That was what highlighted me when my watch started buzzing away. I looked down. I'm thinking, why is Christian calling me? Thank you very much, Christian. Much appreciated. The numbers went. Somebody saying still 77 watching. There was more people tuned in when the sound went off. Mike G says, look, I read lips. He says, man, that Mike G guy is so cool and super awesome. I don't know what it was. It actually went off just before I started as well, but I thought I'd pulled a wire out or something like that when I first started. So yeah, all I did was I kind of unplugged it and plugged it back in again. We might have to invest in a new microphone. I've actually been considering, so if anybody's into kind of sound and stuff, I've been considering picking up like a proper, not like a mixing desk, but you know, like what they're called, like a proper audio interface type thing, so I can control the sound a little bit better, because this is just a lapel mic straight into my PC at the minute, so I'm kind of working with what I've got at the minute. But yeah, now I'm full time. I'm feeling it's probably worth investing in some quality gear rather than just the entry level stuff that I kind of picked up in the time. Peter said, I think Andy said there were 3 more mugs to be won. Fumble says, sound like a phantom power cut out. Yeah, there's no phantom power. It's just coming through my PC, mate, so it's not in separately that way. Robert Zungson just dropped in to say, have to watch later. Gardening project took longer. That's okay, mate. Thank you for coming in. Scott says, have I missed the draw? You have, mate. Unfortunately, you weren't one of the winners. We had Marco, we had Krabby Vision, and we had VJ with the 3 winners. Tony says, you're back. If you draw me for Hero Quest, you heard that bit then. If you're back, draw me for Hero Quest, please let me know, but re-roll for someone more deserving, as I won't be able to use it. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, mate. Brian says, try a Yeti mic with a shock mount and pop filter. Nah, I'm not so keen on the Yeti mics, mate, to be fair. If I'm going to invest in more equipment, I'll get a separate mic and a separate audio to digital converter and that kind of stuff. I'd rather not get an all-in-one. I've got other mics I can use as well. It's just it just works better this way, that's all. Jimmy G says he's off to Kip. Some of us have graft tomorrow. Yeah, take care, mate. Tiberius is saying it's the old gods angry that Tiberius didn't get a mug. It's because I started talking about Games Workshop. They killed the stream, that's what it was. Mike saying, really interested in bolt action rules. I just can't bring myself to paint little green army men. I'm going to be talking about bolt action at some point. I got the bolt action starter set from Warlord Games. I've been painting them up previously in the past and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something I'll be talking about soon. Because painting them up was one of my fears as well, and it wasn't that bad. And Luke saying bolt action turn order. I think that dice mechanic of kind of random drawing activations out is vastly underused. It should be in way more games. Barry says I thought Max Headroom was going to take over the stream. One day, who knows? Where are we at? Tiberius is saying Illuminati. Luke said I used it for a Wild West game and I wrote and altered it, the core of it, but stayed with his own rules. Yeah, I think it's well underused, mate, to be fair. Mike G says I'll watch bat reps, then they look great. Rui says what will GW and other do regarding tournaments? What will they do regarding tournaments? If you mean at the current situation, tournaments aren't happening. That's it. Like everything's on lockdown, so it's not going to happen. Once we start to release restrictions and things, I think things will just go back to normal when it comes to tournaments. But yeah, so I think if that's what you're talking about, mate, I assume that's it. Where are we? Cliff saying the Walking Dead starter should be arriving within the next couple of hours. Exciting, mate. Look forward to seeing you getting that. Palmsy saying I think a Krabby should be exempt. What was that? Exempt from winning as he's practically stuff. To be fair, I haven't had a lot of people on my streams before, so yeah, he's certainly one of them. He's saying he's like a guest like Dr. Hillary on GMB, but less qualified. He got an extra entry in because he sang Rick Astley. That's what it was. Scott saying bolt action is cool, pretty easy to paint with contrast. I will show you. Oh, we've got a new subscriber as well. I will show you how to paint bolt action stuff really quickly to a really good tabletop standard, not using contrast paints. I'll do a video on that very, very soon. George is saying a Yeti mic with a pop filter sounds like a domesticated mythical creature with an aversion to the top 40. Yes. VJ says maybe all mug winners should get guest appearances on a live show. You are welcome to come on a live show anytime you want, sir. Excuse me. Glenn Griffin says, talk about your gunky paints, Andy. Yeah, honestly, I had to clean one out and throw it away, basically. So I mentioned on the Facebook group today, I'm considering changing to some different paints. I'll probably do a video on this as well at some point, but essentially a few of my GW paints, my Citadel paints lately, have just turned to like jelly. And I know people have been saying you should put an agitator in them and shake them up. I bought some stainless steel agitators. They turned out not to be stainless steel and they rusted, so I haven't been putting them back in the bottles. So this one didn't have one of those in. I've been shaking them. I've got one of those nail varnish shakers that work really well. I tried stirring it with some Vallejo airbrush thinners in as well. I've done all of that stuff, and it was just like a clump of jelly in the bottom of the pot, and I think it was a Gothor brown paint, which is one of the ones that I love using. I use it on a lot of models. All my Kings of War have got Gothor brown bases. I use Gothor brown for kind of like leather basing and stuff like that. So their boots and their gloves have all had on. So it's not even a paint that's been standing kind of unused for some time. I've got a Celestra Grey one that's gone exactly the same way. I've got a Baden Black one that's kind of very, very similar. Feels like it's going the same way. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. And I've got some GW paints that I've had for years, absolutely fine. And it seems to be ones I've bought more recently as opposed to stuff I've had lying around for some time. Scott says, does the Amazon affiliate link work for anything you buy off YouTube? If you click on my Amazon affiliate link in the UK, because I don't think it works for the US yet, if you click on that link and buy anything from Amazon, I basically get a small commission, like 1 or 2% basically, for whatever you buy. It links back. You still pay the same price. I get a referral fee for sending you there, mate. That's it. If anybody wants to kind of take a month's free trial of Audible, you can also do that through, there's a link in the description of every one of my videos. If you take up a free month of Audible, if you want to get a free audiobook, you don't pay anything for that first month. I get a small commission for that as well, so that helps support the channel. And then you can get that free book, and you can cancel your account as well, or keep going. I've got an Audible account that I use on a monthly basis. I find it really useful. But yeah, so just while we're talking about Amazon there, so yeah, paints. People are saying about, has Facebook thread today helped you with your choice of paints? To be honest, mate, it's probably meant I'll probably just stay with GW stuff and maybe give them maybe another go and try looking after them a little bit better. The basic reason why I think I end up staying with them is I like the paint, to be fair. When it's fine, I like the paint, and the fact that I can pick it up from lots of local places. So like there's a boys shop not too far away from me where I can go in. It's called Boys, like BOYES, not like a boys shop, where you can just go in and pick it up off the shelf. Most hobby shops have it in. Travelling Man has it in town. There's a GW shop all over the place, not far away from me. One in the Metro Centre, one in Newcastle, one in Sunderland. There it is. Sort of Battle Bunker over in Sunderland sell all the GW paints. They're just easy and quick to pick up. If I find I've run out of something, I can be out, pick one up, and be back home again in the space of about an hour. That's one of the kind of the reasons I end up sticking with the GW stuff, to be fair. Fumble saying the GW paint pots, the cap gets clogged up, leaves small air gap in the paint which messes it up. I'd understand that if it happened more often, but it just seems to have happened with a lot of the more recent ones that I've bought. Like I've got, and I know exactly what you mean about how it gets around the seal and stuff. Some of mine are pretty gunked up and they've never gone. These particular ones that are gunked up weren't like that, to be fair. So I just wonder whether something's kind of changed really on them. Krabby Vision saying exactly what I do, mate. Local boy shop. It's the fact it's on my doorstep, mate, and that's what makes it so easy. Gene saying Vallejo and Reaper, AK scale 75. The problem is, like I say, it's just picking up. What I don't want to do is just to want to order like one pot of paint online and pay twice as much for it in shipping to kind of get it delivered. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather support a local hobby store, or at least have somewhere where I can just pick the stuff up. Richard's saying he's got some 25-year-old GW paints, pre-hex, skinny cylindrical points, all still fine. Yeah, my hex paints are all pretty much still fine as well, mate. George is saying take the paints back, Andy, get a free replacement. To be honest, mate, I've had them a little while, but they're the most recent ones I've bought. That's the problem. Vallejo's easiest paint for me to get. Every hobby shop and most local game stores have it. Yeah, less so around here, mate, to be fair. Mark was saying, are they the ones you were using last time you were drinking whilst hobbying? No, mate. They probably were, to be fair, but yeah, I wasn't putting wine into them or beer into them, that's for sure. Yeah, that would explain it, wouldn't it? I just got to a point where I was thinking I wouldn't mind, like what I said in the Facebook group, and I think people took it the wrong way. I said changing my paint range. I didn't mean I was going to bin all my GW paints, all my Citadel paints, and then replace them with something else. I just meant I was going to replace them over time with a new range, or maybe buy like a paint set from another manufacturer and gradually phase out the GW stuff as and when they get used up. But people are talking about dropper bottles as well. And to be honest, I quite like the GW pots being that little bit bigger. because I don't always use a wet palette, if you like. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see what we do. Krabby says that an everlasting glass of wine, Andy. Like it's gone now, mate. Well, it's got a tiny little bit in the bottom. You can see it only had that much in when I started, mate. I've been swapping and I've been drinking my glass of water as well at the same time. That's why you think it's never ending. Scott's in. Can't wait to paint Yu Jing, but not looking forward to painting yellow. Don't paint them yellow, mate. Do something else. Simon York saying, don't bin, buy more from multiple ranges. Yeah, I was never going to bin them, mate. Like that was never my plan. I was never just going to kind of get all my GW paints and put them in the bin. I just like to have the same range, if I'm honest. More just because it's consistent of kind of the use of them. And I've got a bit of OCD, and I like them to all look neat. That's all it is, really. Tiberius is saying about the coat d'arms are the same paints and colours as the old ones. They are, made, but it's just it's a pain in the backside to pick them up online. Because what I don't want to be doing is spending like sort of 20, 30 quid on paints at a time just to try and cut down on the shipping. If I buy one pot of paint, like it's going to cost me the same amount of money to get it shipped to me. So then it's kind of forcing me into buying more pots of paint over time. That's why it's just easy just to pick stuff up locally, really, when I get them. Mark was saying you got really good dry brush paints now. I couldn't even use them for that, mate. Honestly, they were like a jelly. It was weird. I've never had paints do that before. Jean says, you are killing that wine, you old booze hag. Stay away from the soccer van. The soccer van? No idea what you're talking about, mate. Curry saying, let you get some of the army painted stuff. I've got some of the army painted stuff, mate, to be fair. And it's all historical stuff. It's all the colours I needed for the bolt action stuff. And I'll come on to that in the video that I was talking about painting bolt action stuff. But I do find you have to really, really shake it. It seems to separate way too easily. It needs a lot of shaking. Tiberius is saying buy them hassle-free miniatures. I still have to buy them online, mate. It's not like I've got a shop on the corner of the street or something like that. It's not like, it's still a pain in the backside. Buying coat d'arms from hassle-free is still the same pain in the backside as trying to buy Vallejo from Element Games or something like that. It's still a pain in the backside. I still have to wait for delivery. I still have to plan ahead and try and work out when I'm going to run out of stuff to have it in advance. I still have to kind of buy more to try and pull back on like just wasting money on shipping all the time kind of things. Matt says Vallejo's great, scale 75. Only thing is it's a gel medium, takes getting used to. Yeah, and that's the other side of it. I'm just kind of used to the GW stuff as well. Palmsy says, tell them about your new YouTube channel. They might send you the whole range. That Crabby Vision. Yes. that was something in the chat there. Glenn said, are you planning another painting live stream for Wednesday? I catch and enjoy them on the rewind. That must have just completely shot off the top of my screen. Yes, I think I mentioned it before, mate. There'll definitely be another painting stream on Wednesday. The plan is basically now we'll have a live stream on a Monday, which is a bit more topic focused. We'll have a painting stream every Wednesday, and then my plan is to have a video every Friday as well. Once I start to kind of to get caught up on that one, and then after that one, I'll try and see where the future is. But yeah, that's the plan certainly for the short term, mate. Where was it? Gene saying, soccer moms, boot clubs, wine, more wine. I like wine, mate. I used to be a wine taster. That was my job. I was a wine taster. William says, pick up a couple of the 2-ounce Liquitex soft body acrylics, only for painting bases or terrain. See how you like them compared to hobby paints. Again, mate, it's ease of access of picking that kind of stuff up, mate, really, I think. Christian saying, finds most of the army painted paints don't have great coverage. I don't mind about not having great coverage if it helps, because I do want to try and get better with my painting as well, and my layering and my blending and stuff like that. I do want to try and kind of get a bit better. So if the coverage is not as thick, it might actually help me paint in a different way. But yeah, there's a lot more pigment in the GW stuff, to be fair. David says, pester your local gaming store to get another range in. Never going to happen. My local gaming store is GW through and through, mate. Busey saying still waiting on delivery since the 23rd of March. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, mate. Yeah, that's kind of what frustrates me, really. Christian says, anyone used the in-store paint range? Thinking of picking some up. I think I've got one, actually, that I got in like a pack that somebody sent to me. You know, like a company sent something out. Where are we at? Luke says, what miniatures game have you kept looking at but not pulled the trigger on for one reason or another? I would say there is a couple of things. One has been Marvel Crisis Protocol. And at the time, it was like 90 quid for the starter set. And I thought that was expensive for what it was. To be fair, you can pick that up for 60 quid now. So I'm tempted on that one. What was the other one I've been looking at as well? I quite fancy Aeronautica Imperialis, if I'm honest. Just because I don't really have a sort of... Well, I mean, I've got Blood Red Skies, but I think I'd quite like to paint those little GW ships. I quite like the idea of it. Blood Red Skies is much more simplified. It's a set. Blood Red Skies is essentially roll a 6. That's pretty much how that works. Roll as many 6s as you can get a handful of dice. Roll as many 6s as you can. It's essentially like it's the other 5 sides could have nothing on them. To be fair for that game. So yeah, I think those are the two that spring to mind initially. I'd like to have tried things like what was the other one I was talking about recently? Oh, my mind's gone blank now. Yeah, those are probably the ones anyway. Something else. David's saying more fighting fantasy. Yeah, we'll get back to that at some point. Saying Torres, saying Ceramite White became like Jelly 2, fixed it with Vallejo thinner medium in a hard mix. I tried that, mate. It would not. It was actually getting thicker, and all that was happening was that the jelly was basically lying in a pool of thinners. It was weird, and I did it for ages. Gene says, seriously, you were certified? That's pretty cool. Yeah, I essentially did 2 different wine qualifications, which is like the WSET, which is like the Wine Standards Education Trust. I think I did a level 1 and a level 2, which basically kind of qualified me to do what I need to do. The next level was the level 3, and that was basically kind of like a professional kind of sommelier in a high-end restaurant. Mine was basically enough to be qualified to taste wines for a living and to understand the differences. We did loads of stuff about grape varieties and soil types and harvests, and yeah, it was really interesting, mate. I used to be really, really knowledgeable, but I've not really kept it up. I can still taste. I've still got the taste buds and stuff. I still understand what I'm looking for in a good wine. But yeah, it's takes me back a bit, that, mate. Where are we at? Richard said he's been waiting to try out the Pro Acryl range from Creature Caster. Mark was his Thursday's his birthday. Hope the mug will ship with priority mail. So the mugs will go out because I'll design them online and I'll get the company to ship them out. So I'm not going to get them shipped to me and then shipped out. I'll just, like I would normally do, I'll just pay the extra and get them shipped straight out from the company to individuals. Scott's saying Batman version 4 is his. I think Batman version 4 is good if you've never played it before. If you've already got stuff, I think people are a bit kind of peeved the fact that certain cards only come in the boxes, certain miniatures are coming, certain miniatures that have already been released are coming again in new boxes with miniatures that haven't been released. So people are feeling a bit put out that, God, if I want to buy the new stuff, I've got to buy stuff I've already got. So there's a bit of a weird thing going on in that community at the minute. But if you're brand new getting into it, ignore all that. It's a great entry point at the minute. Where are we at? Luke says Marvel's really cool, much more objective focused game, not just about kicking 7 shades out of each other, far more tactical than I expected. I played a lot of Malifaux years ago, and one of the reasons I enjoyed playing it was the fact that it was much more tactical and much more scenario based. Scott's saying Blood Red Skies is a great game. Yeah, it's a decent game. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm planning on, whilst I've got to make videos with the stuff I've got, I'm planning on making videos with the stuff I've got, so I'll probably go into that a bit more when I start to talk about those videos. People talk about Battlefield Gothic. It went way over my head. Battlefield Gothic, never played it. Where we are. David Moffat saying that Aeronautic Imperial seems like it should have solo co-op player. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they do something with that one now. Claudio saying just really good glass of mead mixed with some cherry juice. We left over from a cherry cake my girlfriend did today. Nice, mate. Luke says, do you like smaller scales like 15mm? Nah, my eyes are shot, mate. I can't paint that small. I would feel like I was just ploughing through it for the sake of getting it done. It would feel a bit more like a production line rather than getting the enjoyment from it, I think. Claudia says, like the hell out of the stream, boys and girls. Joe says, did you check out the new Solo Burrows and Badges rules? I had a good read through them, Joe. I've not played them yet, but I have had a read through and they look really interesting. I think it'll evolve a little bit over time. I think it's something that Michael from Oathsworn did. Basically, just I think he said he was thinking about them overnight. He wrote some notes down in the middle of the night, and then the next day tightened up the rules. So I think it's a first kind of pass at them. But yeah, it's interesting what he's done. Matt says the in-store paints are very thin. Wasn't a fan of them. Found the coverage okay, but they won't replace the brands. Gene says he likes Blood Red Skies too. Love the plane models, and his Soviet Air Force is growing. Yeah, the models are nice, to be fair. VG says, not sure I want to taste soil type in your wine. You'll taste soil type more than you realise, mate, to be fair. It creates a lot of difference in the way the grape grows, the different soil types. Where are we at? Coming down the chat. Gene saying, very cool, Andy. Wish I'd done similar with my coffee, mostly just for the story behind it. Yeah, exactly. It's what it did was it really taught me taste, and I now taste things I probably never used to taste before because I know where I'm looking for certain tastes on my taste buds and my tongue, and from that I got into whiskies and really enjoying whiskies that I never used to in the past, and things like cigars as well. Just that flavour profile. Coffee I got into in a big way as well. So yeah, I got quite a developed palate now from kind of experience and being taught that way. It wasn't something that come naturally. I had to be taught what I was looking for and where to taste it in my mouth and stuff. But I do enjoy flavours now. Scott said he's making his own cherry mead. Claudia says do some BlackJack mead. I've got some homebrew stuff actually that my wife bought me for Christmas. The only reason I haven't started yet is I haven't got any bottles for it. So if I can buy some bottles on Amazon or something like that, I might get a batch of homebrew on. Luke says, do you have a scratch build terrain? Can't wait for his hot wire foam table to arrive tomorrow. Be cracking out the Burrows and Badges terrain he's got planned. I've made some bits and pieces, mate. I think if you there's videos on my channel. I'm going to direct you to videos now, mate. I've got some videos on my channel where I've made boards for The Walking Dead. I've made like tents and stuff for The Walking Dead. Is there anything else I've done as well? I think that might be it. So I have done some stuff. I tend to just find it just as easy to buy some pre-made stuff and paint it up quickly. Terrain building, it never really used to be my love or anything like that. And because I didn't play at home very often, I used to often play at clubs, so I never really needed terrain. And then the terrain I seem to have got now has been things like the Warcry sets, the Kill Team sets, that kind of stuff. The next stage for me will probably be 3D printing, I think. I think I'd be more likely to pick up a 3D printer than I would be to start scratch building stuff. Scott saying, what do you think of these planters that he's been making? They're awesome, mate, those planters. They looked really, really good, and I was dead impressed with them, mate. Paul Palm says, do like a drop of Blue Nun. I thought you had better quality taste than that, mate. Especially you living in Spain. I thought you'd have access to some lovely wines. Luke says he's a massive fan of 15mm. It's amazing what you can get out for the money. I wish there was more of it. It's been getting so much better over the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah, it's the last time I went really kind of small scale was I tried Drop Fleet Commander, and whilst the ships and the cars and stuff, the armored cars are all right to paint, the little kind of characters that you had, like the little, forget what they were called now, but basically a little group of humans or your little group of alien soldiers were just they were just sticks of plastic basically to my eyes. Scott's saying, keep your wine bottles. Yeah, I could do, I suppose. I never thought about wine bottles with the screw caps on. Yeah, but I might have to do that now, mate. Thank you. Gene's saying, nice. He's waiting for his Burrowing Badger's starters. He's got a table that hasn't tried yet. Make other things with foam. Vijay saying he's ready to pull the trigger on Frozen Sonic Mini the other night. Hit the refresh on the page to order and out of stock. I think if I do buy one, I will probably go for I'll probably go for the Elgu Mars and Gold resin. I think I'm just really, really impressed with the quality of the stuff that's putting out. Lee now, nice to see you, Lee. How are you doing? Says, have you seen the new EOS solo player rules for GW? Do you see them trying something similar with Warcry and Kill Team? We were just talking about this briefly earlier on, mate. I have seen them. I've not read through them in any detail. I think Doug from 2+ Tough, if you check out his channel, he's been trying to adapt those rules to work in Warcry. And it wouldn't surprise me, the longer this lockdown goes on, it wouldn't surprise me if they do go that way, mate, to be fair. VGCN probably won't get back in stock until after the pandemic stuff's over. Yeah, sadly. Tony Singh could never get on with spirits. Always found the burn overwhelming any kind of flavour. It's interesting, mate, because I basically, when I was younger, I must have been like 14, 15, and I basically went on a, back then, kids used to go and get like 4 cans of lager from the corner shop and go drinking down the beach. That was kind of what we did. And I remember being a bit drunk one birthday, and somebody gave me a bottle of orange juice to drink to kind of make me feel better, and it was whiskey and orange, and I basically took one drink of it and then like vomited my guts up, and for years afterwards the smell of whiskey instantly took me back to that night being a teenager drunk down the beach. And it took me a while. I think it was just as I got older and my palate changed and stuff, I started to appreciate that there's some whiskies that I taste and I want to throw up. It's an awful taste. But then to be fair, there's some beers that I taste and I want to throw up. There's some food that I taste and I want to throw up, kind of thing. The problem with whiskey is it's too expensive, and wine to be fair as well. We're well off miniature stuff, but it's interesting. The thing with wine and whiskey is, and spirits, they're too expensive to just try them. So you don't want to go out and spend 50 quid on a bottle of whiskey to find out you don't like it. You don't want to go out and spend 12 quid on a bottle of wine to find out you don't like it. So everybody kind of sticks to either the one thing that they like and they buy that all the time, or they stick to the stuff that's on offer when it comes to wines and stuff like that. And that's the problem, is that you potentially haven't found one that you like. It's a bit like miniatures games, really. Like, just because you don't like one doesn't mean you don't like miniatures games. It just means that's not the one for you, really. Yeah, that's the problem. It's just too expensive to experiment with. And I've been really fortunate in my life to kind of do those training courses where I tasted everything from like a £3 bottle of wine to a £250 bottle of wine, and everything in between, and to get the taste profiles, to understand, why is this bottle so expensive? Why is this one so cheap? And what I would say is, if you do buy wine, or your partners buy wine, or you buy wine for friends and stuff, there is no right and wrong. There's only the wines that you like the taste of. That's something I would tell you as somebody who kind of knows what they're talking about. The only good wine is the wine that you like. I would steer clear of the ones right at the bottom end of the range, because especially in the UK, tax is so high that if you're buying like a £4 bottle of wine, there's about £2.50 worth of that is tax and bits of materials and stuff. So you're buying like £1 worth of wine, where if you buy a bottle of wine for say £6, there's like £4 worth of wine in that bottle. So the quality is exponential at that kind of bottom end of the market. But don't get pulled into like sort of snobbish stuff for wine. Just buy the stuff that you like the taste of. If you find one you like, you stick with it. Where are we at? Where are we at? David saying he likes... Oh, where's that gone? Yoakum saying he made a tent today for his survivors after he saw my video. Thank you, Yoakum. Thank you very much, mate. Gene saying 15mm models will surprise them with a degree of detail. I'm not good at painting detail on 28mm models, mate, to be fair. David likes a nice Dalwhinnie whiskey. Nice, good taste there. Mike G says he's looking at the core space game, mostly for the terrain. I'm going to direct you. I've got a video review of the core space game here if you want to see a bit more in detail about it. The sculpts for being single piece plastics are actually really nice in that game. Stacey and Bar, 6 mils a way to go. The way you paint, mate, I'm not surprised you're quite happy to paint 6 mil. Although I did see that you'd done like a game over Skype or whatever it was, which is really interesting seeing Kings of War 6 mil. Scott's saying he's got the Elgu Mars, amazing printer. Luke's saying when he pulls a trigger on a 3D printer, it'll be resin. The results is worlds apart from the PLA stuff, with its really distinct layers. Yeah, I think I've basically held off until I got to a point where I didn't, because I know they take a long time to print. Some of the PLA stuff takes just as long to try and clean it up afterwards. I'm really impressed with the stuff that Christian's been putting out from his resin printer and stuff, and I think at some point in the future that might be a purchase. Yeah. Gene says he's going to be doing some foam core builds for his 7TV stuff. His evil there will be realised. Christian's chatting about core space. Scott's got a fire pit. Gene's in there as well. For what they are, he's impressed with the clarity of the core space sculpt. So many plastics are soft casts and thought they preserved the detail reasonably well. Yeah, I thought they were good as well, mate. Where was this one? Christian's a fan of Four Roses and Jim Beam, White Label and Devil's Cut. I do like a decent bourbon as well, I must admit. I'm a big fan of a good bourbon. If I was just going to buy a bottle of, you can probably see it on my shelf. Is it this side? Looking for my camera now. No, it's this side here. There's a bottle of Monkey Shoulder on there as well that I like as a kind of like as an inexpensive sort of. I was going to say every day, but you know what I mean. Like just kind of, if I just fancy if I was going to sit outside on a nice summer's evening with a nice cigar and a glass of whiskey, I'd probably have a Monkey Shoulder. That's kind of like my go-to easy drinking stuff. Yeah, rum's not too bad as well. Paul says I find cheaper the booze, the worse the hangover. Quite often, mate, tends to be the case, sadly. William says, yeah, good times, scotch and cigars. I prayed for death. You got to go for something. I mean, you got to go one way. Joe is saying Palmsy likes the cheaper stuff, so all you get. I like my... The difference in Spain, though, Joe, is your tax is very, very different. In the UK, the tax is horrendous on spirits and wines. So that's why you get some really, really nice, inexpensive wines in Spain. Italy's the same as well. In the UK, stay away from the bottom end stuff. Gene saying same with hobby toys as wine. Yes. Where are we at? David saying, to be fair, contrast will pretty much do the work on 15 mil. Honestly, I can't even paint eyes and highlights on 28 mil stuff. Tiberius is Buckfast. Where are we at as well? What was that? Everyone's saying, get yourself a printer. It'll be a business expense now. I think until I am actually out of contract, which is the end of June, I can't register as self-employed, I think. So it wouldn't be, if I buy it in the next 2 months, it wouldn't be. Scott's saying I can see the Hague Club as well. Yeah, Hague Club. I've got Hague, that's a Hague Clubman, I think that one is, which is nice with a drop of Coke in it as a bit of a mixer. I've got a bottle of the proper Hague as well, Hague Club, which is quite nice. But they tend to get both for me for gifts, to be fair, and they're nice bottles. They look nice. But it's actually not a bad whiskey just because it's a grain. That's why. Tiberius, I'm with you on the Kraken as well, mate. Barry's saying he painted a lot of 15 mil when he was younger. Not sure his eyes could handle it. Yeah, I think that's me and you, mate. We're in the same boat. People having a chat. Marco said, have you painted anything from Joan of Arc? I haven't, mate, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm not that sure I'm going to keep a hold of it. I might just sell it on. Because I don't think I'm ever going to play it, if I'm honest. I've tried to play it a few times. I've had a couple of games from the intro starter set. There's just way too much stuff there. There's some amazing miniatures that I would love to paint, but they're just going to get painted and sit on the shelf, really. And I think I'm probably better off. Like, there's some like super exclusive stuff there that you just can't buy anymore. I'm tempted just to sell it on, if I'm honest, mate. Tiberius is saying Higgs for the tourists up here. Yeah, it's the whole David Beckham thing, innit, to be fair. But it's actually not bad. It's half decent. Luke's saying quite a bit bigger. Is the price 2.5? I think they're talking about the Elgoose Saturn, I think. Brian saying, ever heard of the notorious Buckfast? I've even heard of the notorious Buckfast over in Canada. Dragon soup, mate, that's what you Scots drink. Scott saying he posted a few pictures of his Soviets in 15mm. Thank you, mate. David saying, being Canadian, I drink Canadian whiskey quite often. I don't think I've ever had Canadian whiskey. Obviously, I've had Japanese whiskey, which I quite like. Obviously, bourbons and stuff from the States. And Irish and Scotch whiskey, obviously, a Scotch. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had a Canadian whiskey. Mark saying, good night all, need to get some sleep. See you all on Wednesday or in the Discord. I didn't realise the time, mate. Yeah, 11:15. We'll start to wrap it up a little bit, I think. John saying, Highland Park, 12-year-old single malt. Take it from a Scot that drinks whiskey. It's the best. I mean, I do have to try some, mate. And Joe's saying to Krabby Vision, you're up to 11 subscribers now. Krabby, I didn't know you started your YouTube channel, mate. So, is your YouTube channel called Krabby Vision, is it, mate? Let's get you some subs in there as well. Tell me what it is. We'll come back to that, mate. Christian saying unknown at the moment. I talk about resin printers. Pete saying thanks for the booze chat, guys. Not I'm on a dry night. Tybee saying Canadian whiskey's like English wine. English wine's all right as well. The problem with it is it's so expensive. There is better quality foreign wines for cheaper. It's just expensive because it's done in such small batches. Busey saying, what about this Warplock miniature stuff? Watch the stream this weekend. Look really cool. Warplock with them Arc World is one of the things I'm also interested in, mate. The guy sculpts them all by hand. And to be fair, Alex Huntley, who's the owner and the sculptor, is in our Facebook group as well. And I did, yeah, I must have completely missed the link, Christian. I didn't see it, mate. What was I going to say? Yeah, Alex Huntley. I've messaged him today, to be fair, to have a chat to see if he'd like to do something with the channel. It's just got a really nice feel to it, the game Arc World. And I like that old kind of style, kind of hand sculpted stuff. Small war bands, interesting kind of goblins and creatures and fantasy stuff. Yeah, hopefully there'll be some of that stuff on the channel at some point. Yeah, I completely missed that, Christian. I'm kind of scrolling back here now to see if I can see it. I don't know. Where on earth did I think it must have just been when I was... I think what it was when the chat jumped and I couldn't find it. There it is, Christian saying, when you're done watching the stream tonight, before logging off, please go over and subscribe to Krabby Vision's YouTube channel. Yes, so at 10:25 in the chat. I completely missed that somehow. Yes, please do go over and support them. If you saw my first painting stream a couple of weeks... I don't know if it was my first one actually, but not last week's painting stream. The week before when I painted Hellboy, I was on the stream with Al Krabby. He's now started his own YouTube channel, doing a lot of painting, streaming and stuff, I believe. Please do go and support him. Always nice to see other folks in the community doing their own thing as well. I know I was talking to a few other people as well. I think Luke has got a channel that's starting soon as well. So yes, please do go over. I know I don't kind of like to share stuff in the Facebook group. The reason for that is because in the past, people used to just come in, dump their latest video into the chat, into the Facebook group, and then disappear. They had absolutely no interactivity with the community. They didn't sort of help anybody. They didn't give anything to the community. They didn't add anything to the community. And basically, it got a little bit out of hand. That basically, as you came in, it was just post after post after post after post after post of people just sharing their stuff and not really being community minded. So I decided to stop it. Some people took the hump, weren't very pleased about it, but I think that the Facebook group has grown to a great place where we chat about the hobby now. We share what we're doing, and it's not just full of links to videos. That doesn't mean I don't support what you're doing. Scott's just reminded me there as well. Scott's just started his channel as well. So that one is Two Little Tankers. Please go and check these things out. What I'll probably do is at some point, I'll maybe put a post in the Facebook group or something. We'll get a list of everybody's together and we'll just kind of get everybody. Or what I might do is I might start one thread and everybody can post links to the stuff that they're working on, their channels, their podcasts, that kind of stuff. And we'll put it in one place because I want people to kind of help each other out. I just don't want to clog the Facebook group up and become a place where people just come and dive in and share their stuff. Doesn't mean I won't support you. Doesn't mean I don't want other people to support you. Where are we at? Matt's saying he's got loads of the old Art World models. They're great sculpts. He's just started doing some digital sculpting now, but he's actually digital sculpting in the style of hand sculpting. Like, he's got a very particular, excuse me, oh, my bum's getting a bit sore sitting on the edge of the seat. He's got a very particular style that he kind of sculpts with, and he started trying to digital sculpt in that same style. And yeah, it's really quite impressive. No, Rick Astley. Yes, Krabby Vision saying appreciate the plug. Not a problem at all, mate. Not a problem at all. Yeah, we'll get something shared in the Facebook group. Christian's on about Throwdown Thursdays. I don't want it to become a weekly thing, mate, to be fair. I know that, I know they do it in the top table gaming place as well, because they got into a problem where basically everybody was just diving in and sharing their stuff. There's a few people still kind of sneak stuff in there and I have to delete it out. And to be fair, they're the folks that don't sort of contribute in the community as well. There's a few people dive in and try and sneak a little bit of painting commission stuff in there as well. I just don't want it to become that kind of a place, really. But I don't mind helping the people that are part of the community. If it becomes a weekly thing, people will come in, dump the video there for the week and disappear. And I don't want it to be that. David says, shilling one's YouTube channel is often a negative experience, just like making content that no one ever sees. It's a bit of a thing. The problem is, mate, is I don't share my videos in anybody else's Facebook group, because for me it's part of, like, you know, if I'm going to say people can't share their stuff in my group, I'm not going to sort of overstep the mark and share my stuff in other people's groups. But to be fair, it's like, if you look in other groups where people share posts to videos and stuff, there are certain other Facebook groups that are just links to people's videos. And when you look at them, nobody's commenting on them. Nobody's liking the video. It might get one like from somebody's mate or something like that. I think sometimes it's a bit of a fallacy to think, if I share this in the group, I'm going to get loads of views, and if I don't share it, I won't get any views. Everybody's got to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere, and I had to kind of put the hard work in as well. It becomes a more negative experience if you are a member of a community. Like look what's happened tonight with Krabby, right? If you're a member of a community and you take part in that community and you give to that community, the community will support you when you do something. If you don't invest time into that community and give something to that community, and the only thing you do is you go into it, drop your videos and disappear again, people won't give it the time of day. So it's a double-edged sword, really. It's about, if you want something from that community to kind of please people, check out my YouTube channel, for example, you have to give to that community. And I'm not suggesting that you don't, by the way. I'm just using this as an example of what people tend to do. They tend to think they're just, and you'll see it in your feeds in Facebook. There are certain people who literally go around every group and post their video, and it'll come up in your feed. So-and-so has posted in this group, so-and-so has posted in this group, so-and-so has posted in this group, and it's being shared like 4, 5, 6 times in groups all over the place. And you just think, oh God. VJ says he's doing some digital sculpting with ZBrush. Yes. But it seems to be not too difficult to get started. It's obviously difficult to be good at it, but I think it's not too difficult to get started on. VG saying I prefer the Discord to the Facebook group. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean. Where are we at? Palmsy saying I thought your singing on Saturday's stream was alright. Scott saying at the end of the day, I need this group is your baby mates, but you built and found it. I don't want people to think, like, I don't want to get mixed that I'm basically like, I'm not stopping people. You know what I mean? Like, well, I am stopping them from sharing stuff, but I'm not supporting people. I will support the people that basically are members in the community who are active members in the community, if you like. What I don't want is if you open the floodgates, and I've seen it recently with certain people that kind of give an inch and take a mile kind of thing. I like the community being the community, not just an advertising platform for everybody else to come and dump their stuff. And yes, I share my videos in there, but it is the BlackJack Legacy community group. That's the reason. You won't see me sharing my videos over in the top table groups. You won't see me sharing my videos over on Sporadically Board, for example. You won't see me sharing them over in Idic Beer's group and that kind of stuff, because that's not my community. I don't give anything to those communities at this stage. I sometimes shared stuff in the Warcry group in the past, but to be fair, I was an active member of that Warcry group, so it kind of balances itself out. Scott's in there is way more than that, Luke. And David's saying Blender's pretty good. Yeah, Blender's free as well, isn't it? I remember that now. Tybreeze is saying his pet peeve is going to Facebook and seeing 4 or more consecutive posts, the identical post by the same guy in different groups. More peeved if it's an advert for a YouTube link or a work in progress commission. You kind of that's my entire point, mate. And I still get them in my feeds. I've got people in my friends list who do that exact thing, and some of them I'm surprised at, if I'm honest. But they do just go in and they kind of drop into all these groups where they're members, and they just right, have a look at this video, have a look at this video, and it's this scattergun approach to basically. It's basically door-to-door selling, basically, isn't it? It's like the difference of selling to somebody you know who trusts you, and the difference of going door-to-door and just going, do you want this, do you want this, do you want this kind of thing. It's unfortunately, you've got to put the hard work in. Crabby's saying, yeah, for sure. Only reason I started a channel was because of this group and the support you gave me. I'm sure it'll go into it a bit on live stream at some point. Also, I'll only be live streaming. Thanks, mate. Best of luck with it, mate. I really hope it goes on and does well. Tony's saying, been listening to all chat, but actually started working on Venom for Crisis Protocol. Nice one. Lee said, great stream, and he's got to head off. Thank you, Lee. Catch you later. And everyone's having a bit of a chat. So I think, folks, we're coming up to 11 o'clock now. I think we'll wrap that up. I'd like to say thank you to Scott and to Joachim, who joined the Patreon tonight. Thank you very, very much. I'd better just double check and make sure I haven't missed anybody in case anybody else joined and I completely missed it. I don't think they did. No, just you two guys. Thank you very much, folks. If you, when I normally click the out button, and there's normally the little kind of the link with everyone's names on the Patreon, there's a new little link on tonight. So please stay and watch the end bit when I click goodbye. And let me know what you think. It makes it easier as the numbers in the Patreon have gone up. It was getting difficult to get everybody's name on the screen at the same time. So I've done it slightly differently now, and it means that anybody that joins will get their names added into the list more easily. And it also means that I can add this same little tag on the end of every one of my videos. So if you are a Patreon and your name gets added into the list of all the Patreons, then you'll see your name at the end. So thanks very much, folks. I will see you all on Wednesdays. Paint and Stream, the Hobby Hangout. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.